22 actors currently rotting in jail and the reasons why. You won't believe what these stars did to end up behind bars. From A-list actors to reality show favorites, these 22 celebrities are serving time for shocking crimes. Get ready to have your world rocked as we dive into the dark side of fame. Buckle up, this is one wild ride. Number 22, Michael Jace.
I'm going to stay on the phone with you, okay?
Okay, Godspeed, please.
Actor Michael Jace, age 62, recognized for his portrayal of Officer Julian Lowe on The Shield, committed a heinous act on May 19, 2014. He fatally shot his wife, April Jace, in their Los Angeles residence. The couple had been together for over 10 years and were parents to 2 young boys. The murder was prompted by marital issues, including financial struggles and Jace's envy. During the incident, Jace fired 3 shots at April, who enjoyed running, and reportedly said to her, "If you like running, then run to heaven." He then called the police to report the shooting. The officers found April deceased from gunshot wounds. The trial disclosed that Jace was under the impression that April wanted to leave him and was envious of her interactions with other men. It also came to light that he had previously filed for bankruptcy in 2011 and had a history of domestic violence. He faced charges of first-degree murder and using a firearm during the crime. In May 2016, Michael Jace was found guilty of second-degree murder. The jury determined that while the act was intentional, it lacked premeditation required for first-degree murder. He received a sentence of 40 years to life in prison with no possibility of parole until he has served at least 40 years. Effectively a life sentence given his age at the time of sentencing, 54. He is currently incarcerated at Corcoran State Prison in California. Number 21, Danny Masterson. Actor Danny Masterson, recognized for his portrayal of Stephen Hyde on That 70s Show, was recently found guilty of several counts of sexual assault. The first allegations against him surfaced in the early 2000s when 3 women claimed he sexually assaulted them in separate incidents between 2001 and 2003. These women were all associated with the Church of Scientology, to which Masterson is a devoted member. Initially, these accusations were not made public, allegedly due to the influence of the Church of Scientology. The women alleged that they were coerced by the church not to report the incidents and faced threats of excommunication or other consequences if they did. It was only after the Me Too movement gained traction that these allegations resurfaced, prompting new investigations in 2017. Following additional complaints, the Los Angeles Police Department reopened its investigation into Masterson. By 2020, he was charged with 3 counts of forcible sexual assault, with prosecutors arguing that he leveraged his position within the Church of Scientology to suppress his victims' voices and evade justice for years. In May 2023, after an extensive trial, Masterson was convicted on 2 counts of forcible sexual assault. However, the jury could not reach a verdict on the 3rd count, resulting in a mistrial for that charge. In September 2023, Danny Masterson was sentenced to 30 years to life in prison, meaning he will not be eligible for parole until he has served at least 30 years and will be 78 years old at that time. He is currently serving his sentence at California Men's Colony, a medium to minimum security prison in San Luis Obispo. Interestingly, Masterson's younger brother plays Francis in Malcolm in the Middle. Number 20, Amy Locane. Amy Locane, aged 52 and famous for her role as Sandy Harling on Melrose Place, was involved in a devastating car accident on June 27, 2010 in Montgomery Township, New Jersey. Locane was driving under the influence and exceeded the speed limit by 18 miles per hour when she collided with another vehicle. This tragic incident led to the death of 60-year-old Helen Seaman and left her husband, Fred Seaman, severely injured. Locane's blood alcohol concentration was almost 3 times the legal limit for impairment. She faced charges of second-degree vehicular homicide and third-degree assault by auto. The legal process was lengthy and complex. In 2012, Locane received a 3-year prison sentence, which was widely criticized for being too lenient, considering the severity of her actions. The judge considered her clean criminal record and the presence of her 2 young children as factors for the relatively short sentence. However, the Seaman family and the prosecution believed that the sentence did not reflect the gravity of her crime and sought a more severe punishment, leading to multiple appeals and resentencing hearings. During this period, Locane's husband filed for divorce and custody of their 2 daughters. In 2020, after several appeals and legal battles, Locane's sentence was increased to 8 years in prison. She must serve a minimum of 6 years and 10 months before being eligible for parole. Currently, she is serving her sentence at Edna Mahan Correctional Facility for Women and has recently lost an appeal to reduce her sentence. Number 19, Drew Drexel. Drew Drexel, a celebrated competitor and the 2019 victor of American Ninja Warrior, was apprehended in August 2020. His arrest came as a shock to his supporters, who admired his athletic prowess on the show. The charges against Drexel were grave, with allegations of child exploitation that were deeply troubling. The case against him originated when a mother reported to the authorities that he had engaged in inappropriate sexual conduct with her teenage daughter. The alleged incident spanned several years, starting when the girl was just 15 years old. Drexel was accused of participating in illicit sexual activities with the minor and crossing state lines to meet her for illegal purposes. The investigation uncovered evidence of sexual exploitation, including explicit communications between Drexel and the victim. In response to these revelations, NBC and American Ninja Warrior swiftly cut all ties with Drexel, removing any content featuring him from their platforms and dissociating the show from the controversy. Sponsors and partners also distanced themselves from him, effectively ending his career in competitive sports entertainment. At 35 years old, Drexel faced multiple serious charges, including production of illegal materials involving children, enticing a minor to travel for illicit sexual conduct, and using interstate commerce to entice a minor to engage in sexual activity. As of September 2024, Drexel's legal proceedings are still ongoing, with the possibility of a 45-year prison sentence if he is found guilty on all charges. Number 18, Harvey Weinstein. Harvey Weinstein, a prominent Hollywood producer and co-founder of the Weinstein Company, became a symbol of the #MeToo movement when numerous women accused him of sexual misconduct in 2017. Known for producing films like Pulp Fiction and The King's Speech, his legacy was tainted by allegations of sexual harassment and assault spanning decades. Reports from the New York Times and The New Yorker brought these claims to light, leading to global accusations against him. Actresses such as Ashley Judd and Rose McGowan were among his accusers, highlighting Hollywood's systemic abuse of power. In May 2018, Weinstein was arrested in New York on charges including forcible sexual assault and predatory sexual assault. His rapid downfall saw him expelled from the Academy, his company bankrupt, a divorce, and even the revocation of his CBE honor by the Queen. In February 2020, he was convicted of criminal sexual assault and forcible sexual assault, but acquitted of predatory sexual assault. He was sentenced to 23 years in New York and an additional 16 years in California in 2023. However, in April 2024, his New York convictions were overturned due to trial judge errors, calling for a retrial. Currently incarcerated at Mohawk Correctional Facility at age 72, Weinstein is scheduled for release at age 107. Do you believe that the abuse of power, as seen in the case of Harvey Weinstein, is an inevitable consequence of unchecked authority? Comment with yes or no to join the discussion. Number 17, Josh Duggar. Josh Duggar, age 36 and a former reality TV personality from the TLC program 19 Kids and Counting, faced a series of scandals that led to his arrest and incarceration. His legal issues began in 2015 with revelations that he had sexually assaulted several of his younger sisters and a family friend during his teenage years in the early 2000s. These incidents, which surfaced years later, resulted in the cancellation of his family's show. In April 2021, Duggar was arrested on federal charges concerning child sexual abuse material. He faced 2 counts, one for receiving and another for possessing such material. Each count was a serious federal offense with a potential 20-year prison sentence. The material found in Duggar's possession was so disturbing that a Department of Homeland Security agent described it as among the worst he had ever encountered. In December 2021, Duggar was convicted on both counts, and in May 2022 he received a sentence of 12 years and 7 months in federal prison without the possibility of parole, which is standard for federal sentences. Upon release, Duggar will be subject to 20 years of supervised release and will be required to register as a sex offender. In contrast to other celebrities who faced legal troubles and were abandoned by their spouses, Josh Duggar's wife, Anna, supported him throughout his trial. He's currently incarcerated at FCI Seagoville, a federal correctional institution in Seagoville, Texas, and will be 48 years old when he becomes eligible for release. Number 16, Jared Fogle. Jared Fogle, the former face of Subway, shocked the public when his hidden life was exposed, revealing a stark contrast to his wholesome image. Fogle's rise to fame in the late 1990s was meteoric, thanks to his remarkable weight loss of over 200 pounds, which he attributed to a diet centered on Subway sandwiches. As the subway guy, he became a prominent spokesperson, appearing in numerous commercials, public events, and even films like Sharknado. However, behind the scenes, Fogel's life was marred by disturbing secrets. An FBI investigation, sparked by a tip from a journalist, uncovered Fogel's involvement in the possession and distribution of explicit materials featuring minors, as well as his engagement in illicit activities with them. The probe revealed that Fogel had received some of these materials from a trusted associate, Russell Taylor, who had recorded them in his home. Fogel's reputation was left in tatters, and his wife soon filed for divorce. In 2015, he pleaded guilty to the charges and was sentenced to nearly 16 years in federal prison, with a minimum of 13 years before being eligible for parole. Fogel was also ordered to pay a substantial fine and restitution to his victims. Today, he is serving his sentence at a low-security federal prison in Colorado, a far cry from his former life as a celebrated figure. Number 15. Zach Avery. Zach Avery, an actor known for his role as Mike in the 2021 film The Getaway, was the mastermind behind a significant Ponzi scheme. Despite his career in Hollywood not taking off as expected, Avery managed to maintain an extravagant lifestyle by running a fraudulent investment operation through his company, One in MM Capital LLC, from 2014 to 2019. He deceived investors by claiming that his company had agreements with major streaming services like Netflix and HBO to distribute foreign films, which were entirely fictitious. He offered investors high returns, promising up to 40% returns within a year on their investments. To make his scheme seem legitimate, Avery used counterfeit documents and fake contracts. Over the course of 5 years, he defrauded investors of more than $650 million, using money from new investors to pay earlier ones in a typical Ponzi scheme manner. When the scheme was exposed in 2019, hundreds of investors discovered that there were no real film distribution deals and that Avery's luxurious lifestyle, which included a $6 million mansion, high-end cars, and lavish spending, was funded by their stolen money. In 2021, Avery was arrested and charged with securities fraud and wire fraud. On the day of his arrest, his wife filed for divorce and sought sole custody of their child. In October of that year, he pleaded guilty to 1 count of securities fraud and was sentenced to 20 years in federal prison. He will be 54 years old when released in 2042. Number 14. Will Hayden. Will Hayden, the founder of Red Jacket Firearms and a star on the reality TV series Sons of Guns, experienced a dramatic fall from grace in 2014. Renowned for his gunsmithing skills and his role on the Discovery Channel program, Hayden's reputation was severely damaged when he was accused of serious sexual offenses. In August 2014, he was arrested and charged with aggravated sexual assault against a minor. His daughter, Stephanie Ford, who also appeared on Sons of Guns, publicly accused him of sexually abusing her as a child, adding to the mounting allegations against him. More victims came forward, claiming that Hayden had sexually assaulted them over many years. One victim stated that Hayden had forced himself on her when she was just a teenager. Following Hayden's arrest, the Discovery Channel promptly cancelled Sons of Guns. Red Jacket Firearms severed ties with Hayden, and his company's license to produce firearms was revoked. His family members, especially Stephanie, publicly denounced him. In April 2017, Will Hayden was found guilty on 2 counts of aggravated sexual assault and 1 count of forcible sexual assault. He received 2 life sentences without parole for the aggravated sexual assault convictions and an additional 40 years for the forcible sexual assault charge. The judge ordered that Hayden serve his sentences consecutively, ensuring he would never be released from prison. 3 months later, he received a 3rd life sentence after pleading no contest to another charge of forcible sexual assault. The 59-year-old is currently serving his sentences at Louisiana State Penitentiary. Number 13. Joe Sun. Joe Sun, aged 53, recognized for his role of Random Task in Austin Powers' International Man of Mystery, is currently serving a life sentence for his criminal actions. Before his acting career took off, Sun was a mixed martial artist with a record of 0 wins and 4 losses. However, his fame was marred by a heinous crime he committed in 1990. On Christmas Eve of that year, Sun and another individual kidnapped and viciously assaulted a woman in Huntington Beach, California. They subjected the victim to forced assault and degradation before setting her free. Despite the severity of the crime, Sun managed to avoid prosecution for almost 20 years. It was only in 2008, when Joe's son was apprehended for unrelated minor offenses, that his DNA was added to the national database. This led to a match with the 1990 cold case, implicating Sun in the brutal assault. The victim, who had been living without knowledge of her attackers' identities for years, finally received the justice she needed. In 2008, Joe's son faced multiple felony charges for forcible sexual assault, kidnapping, and torture. However, due to the statute of limitations on some charges, Son could not be prosecuted for the forcible assault charge. He was instead charged with felony torture and other serious offenses related to the attack. In 2011, Joe's son was found guilty of felony torture and sentenced to 7 years to life in prison. In 2017, while serving his life sentence, Joe's son was accused of further violent behavior. He was charged with killing his cellmate at Wasco State Prison in California. He was convicted of voluntary manslaughter and received an additional 27-year sentence behind bars. He's now serving a total of 34 years to life at the same prison. Number 12, Skylar DeLeon. Skylar DeLeon, who had a role in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers as a child actor, was involved in a gruesome crime in California. In 2004, he and others planned the murder of Tom and Jackie Hawkes, an elderly couple who lived on their yacht. The couple wanted to sell their boat to be closer to their family. DeLeon, pretending to be interested in buying the yacht, invited them for a sea trial. Once they were out at sea, DeLeon, his wife Jennifer Henderson, and 2 others overpowered the couple, tied them to an anchor, and threw them overboard into the Pacific Ocean. The motive was financial. DeLeon wanted the yacht to pay for his sex reassignment surgery. He was charged with first-degree murder for the killings of Tom and Jackie Hawkes. His charges included special circumstances of murder for financial gain, making him eligible for the death penalty. DeLeon was also linked to the 2003 murder of John Jarvis in Mexico. In 2008, he was convicted of 3 counts of first-degree murder for the killings of Tom and Jackie Hawkes and John Jarvis. In 2009, he was sentenced to death by lethal injection. However, due to California's moratorium on the death penalty, he will remain on death row at San Quentin State Prison in California. On a scale of 0 to 5, how shocking is it that a former Power Rangers actor was involved in a heinous crime? Comment with a number. Number 11, Joe Exotic. Joe Exotic, 61, gained notoriety through the Netflix series Tiger King, which showcased his eccentric lifestyle and eventual legal troubles. The series focused on his life as the owner of the Greater Wynwood Exotic Animal Park in Oklahoma, where he kept numerous big cats and other exotic animals. His life took a turn when his feud with animal rights activist Carol Baskin, who runs Big Cat Rescue, intensified. Baskin accused Joe of animal mistreatment and aimed to close his zoo. Joe responded with harassment and threats against Baskin, leading to a dangerous situation. In 2017, Joe was accused of attempting to hire 2 men to kill Baskin. The first man took the money but did not act. The second was an undercover FBI agent who accepted $110,000 to investigate further. In 2019, Joe Exotic was arrested and charged with 2 counts of hiring someone to murder Carol Baskin. He also faced multiple wildlife-related charges, including 17 counts of animal abuse for killing 5 tigers and violating the Endangered Species Act, and 9 counts of violating the Lacey Act for illegally selling tiger cubs across state lines. In January 2020, he was convicted and sentenced to 22 years in federal prison. In July 2021, a federal appeals court ruled that his sentencing was incorrect and resentenced him to 21 years. In late 2021, Joe Exotic revealed a prostate cancer diagnosis and has sought compassionate release without success. He is currently scheduled for release in 2035 when he will be 72 years old. Number 10, Jerry Harris. Jerry Harris, a 25-year-old star from the popular Netflix documentary series Cheer, was apprehended in September 2020 following an FBI probe into child sexual exploitation allegations. Known for his cheerful demeanor and cheerleading skills, Harris's darker side emerged when he was accused of sexual misconduct by twin teenage boys. It was alleged that Harris had persistently asked for explicit material from the boys, beginning when they were just 13 years old. This led to a federal investigation that revealed Harris had allegedly used Snapchat and other platforms to solicit inappropriate content from several minors. The investigation also found explicit messages and videos Harris had sent to these victims, bolstering the case against him. His arrest came as a shock to the public, especially considering his fame and positive depiction in Cheer. The show's production team promptly distanced themselves from Harris, and his sponsors and partnerships, including those with companies like Varsity Spirit, were terminated. Initially charged with producing lewd material involving minors, Harris later faced a total of 7 federal charges, which included enticing a minor to engage in lewd activity, receiving and attempting to receive illegal material involving children, and traveling for illicit sexual conduct with a minor. In February 2022, Harris pleaded guilty to 2 of the 7 federal charges as part of a plea deal. On July 20th, 2022, he was sentenced to 12 years in federal prison for child sexual exploitation. After his prison term, he will be under supervised release for 8 years, during which his use of technology and interactions with minors will likely be monitored and restricted. Harris is expected to be released around 2034. Number 9. Shannon Richardson. Shannon Richardson, who had minor roles in TV shows The Walking Dead and The Vampire Diaries, was implicated in a serious crime in 2013. She sent letters containing the poison ricin to President Barack Obama, New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg, and Mark Glaze, who was the head of Mayors Against Illegal Guns. Ricin is a highly toxic substance derived from castor beans. Richardson's actions could have had dire outcomes for the recipients. Initially, she tried to blame her estranged husband, Nathan Richardson, for the crime. The couple was in the midst of a contentious divorce, and Shannon planted evidence to implicate him. However, an investigation revealed that Shannon was the actual perpetrator. The FBI arrested her in June 2013 after she admitted to making and sending the ricin-laced letters from her home in Texas. Shannon Richardson faced charges for threatening the president, mailing threatening communications, and possessing a biological weapon. Her defense argued that she was emotionally unstable due to her troubled marriage and pregnancy at the time. However, her actions were deemed deliberate and dangerous. In July 2014, Shannon Richardson pleaded guilty to possessing and producing a biological toxin and was sentenced to 18 years in federal prison. She was also ordered to pay $367,400 in restitution for the costs incurred by the government during the investigation. Currently housed at Federal Medical Center Carswell in Texas, Richardson is expected to be released around 2032. Number 8. Colin Walker. Colin Walker, recognized for his part in the 2018 movie Superfly, faced multiple sexual assault charges leading to his arrest in 2018. He was accused of exploiting his position as an entertainer to deceive women, mostly models, with the promise of career opportunities. Once he had gained their trust, he would then assault them. Prosecutors stated that Walker frequently reached out to his victims via social media, using professional photo shoots or entertainment industry work as a cover. The assaults were said to have occurred over several years, starting in 2013. By the time of his arrest, over a dozen women had accused Walker of sexual misconduct. In October 2022, Colin Walker was found guilty of multiple counts of forcible sexual assault and was sentenced to 50 years to life in prison. The jury convicted him on several counts of forcible sexual assault, but acquitted him on charges related to 3 out of 10 victims. The court decided that Walker had intentionally used his status and influence to commit these acts, resulting in a substantial prison sentence. His earliest possible release date is in the 2070s, meaning the 29-year-old is likely to spend the remainder of his life incarcerated. Number 7. Zara Fithian. Zara Fithian, recognized for her role in Doctor Strange and her martial arts skills, was found guilty in 2022, along with her husband, Victor Mark, of sexually exploiting a minor. The incidents took place between 2005 and 2008 when the victim was underage. Fithian used her growing fame in the entertainment industry and as a martial artist to manipulate the victim. The abuse began as Fithian and her husband groomed the victim with alcohol and promises before subjecting her to illegal acts. Many fans were appalled by the revelations, especially considering her athletic achievements and role in Doctor Strange. Fithian faced several charges of sexual abuse against a minor and was convicted on 14 counts of sexual activity with a child. Her husband faced additional charges, including sexual assault involving another young victim. In May 2022, Zara Fithian was sentenced to 8 years in prison for her part in the abuse, while Victor Mark received a more severe sentence of 14 years due to his greater involvement in the crimes. The judge criticized both Fithian and Mark for their exploitation of the victim over several years, highlighting the long-term psychological harm they caused. The 40-year-old Fithian is expected to be released in 2030. Love this video. Show some love with a like and a subscribe. Hate it? A like would still be awesome, and your feedback in the comments will help me improve. Number 6. Ryan Grantham. Ryan Grantham, a 25-year-old actor recognized for his work in Riverdale and Diary of a Wimpy Kid, was arrested in March 2020 for the murder of his mother, Barbara Waite. At 21, he shot her while she played the piano in their home in Squamish, British Columbia. Post-murder, Grantham had planned further acts of violence. He loaded his car with weapons and Molotov cocktails, intending to drive to Ottawa with the initial plan to assassinate Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. However, he decided against this and turned himself in at a Vancouver police station, admitting to his mother's murder. Grantham faced a charge of second-degree murder, which carries a life sentence in Canada. This type of murder is intentional but not premeditated. His trial brought attention to his mental health struggles, including severe depression and suicidal thoughts prior to the crime. It was also revealed that he had practiced and filmed the act. In September 2022, Grantham was sentenced to life imprisonment with eligibility for parole after 14 years, potentially in 2036 when he will be in his late 30s. The judge took into account his age and mental health issues, but highlighted the premeditation of the murder and potential for further harm. Number 5. Jen Shah. Jen Shah, featured on The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, was arrested in March 2021 for her role in a telemarketing fraud scheme that targeted vulnerable people. Along with her assistant, Stuart Smith, she was charged with defrauding hundreds, many of whom were elderly and had limited understanding of technology. The U.S. Department of Justice claimed the scheme had been operating for almost 10 years, selling fake services like website design and business coaching. The wealth and luxury Shah displayed on the reality show were partly funded by these illicit profits. Her arrest was filmed for the show, and her legal issues became a key plotline. Initially pleading not guilty, Shah changed her plea to guilty in July 2022 as her trial neared. She admitted to charges including wire fraud and money laundering conspiracy. In January 2023, she was sentenced to 6.5 years in prison and ordered to pay over $9 million in restitution and forfeit $6.5 million. Her sentence was less severe than the potential 30 years due to her guilty plea and commitment to compensating victims. Currently held at a minimum security women's prison in Texas, Shah is set for release in 2029. Number 4. Julie and Todd Chrisley. Julie and Todd Chrisley, stars of the reality show Chrisley Knows Best, faced a high-profile legal case that resulted in their imprisonment. In 2019, they were charged with various counts of tax evasion, bank fraud, and wire fraud. Prosecutors claimed the couple had defrauded banks of millions by submitting false financial documents and evaded taxes by hiding their income. Todd Chrisley allegedly secured $30 million in loans with falsified documents. After failing to repay these loans, they filed for bankruptcy in 2012, eliminating $20 million of debt. However, this was just the start of their legal issues, as investigators discovered a pattern of fraud and financial deception over several years. Amidst the trial, the show continued to air, but the allegations tarnished their image. Their daughter Savannah defended her parents, while son Chase focused on his spin-off show. The Chrisleys were charged with bank fraud, wire fraud, tax evasion, conspiracy to defraud the U.S., and submitting false documents for loans. In November 2022, both were convicted and sentenced to prison. Todd received 12 years and Julie 7 years, with 16 months of probation upon release. Todd is at FPC Pensacola in Florida, with a potential release date around 2034, while Julie is at the Federal Medical Center in Lexington, Kentucky, with a potential release date around 2030. Their legal team continues to appeal the conviction or seek reduced sentences despite their imprisonment. Number 3. Tamara Lynn Sitch. Tamara Lynn Sitch, recognized as Sunny in WWE and dubbed the original Diva, had a notable wrestling career in the 1990s. However, her life took a downturn marked by legal troubles and substance abuse issues. A tragic event unfolded on March 25, 2022, when Sitch caused a car accident in Ormond Beach, Florida. Under the influence and speeding, she collided with another vehicle, resulting in the death of 75-year-old Julian Lassiter. Her BAC was significantly over the legal limit. Post-accident, Sitch faced charges of DUI manslaughter, along with other violations like driving with a suspended license and causing injury. This came after multiple DUI arrests, marking her as a repeat offender. Lassiter's family sued Sitch for over $100,000 in damages. In August 2023, she pleaded no contest to the charges and was sentenced to 17 years for DUI manslaughter under Florida's strict laws. Given her history, the court showed no leniency. At 51, she is expected to be released around 2039, when she will be 67. Number 2. Sean Diddy Combs. Sean Diddy Combs, who has appeared in several films including 2014's Draft Day, has found himself at the center of a shocking scandal. The rapper and entrepreneur has been accused of running a large-scale sex trafficking operation, using his wealth and influence to exploit women for commercial sex. According to the indictment, which spans over a decade, Combs allegedly used coercion, threats and manipulation to control his victims. Despite his defense team's claims of innocence, prosecutors have presented evidence of firearms and large quantities of lubricant found in his homes, as well as testimony from alleged victims who claim to have been abused. Combs' future hangs in the balance, with a potential prison sentence of 15 years to life on the table. For now, he remains in pre-trial detention at the Metropolitan Detention Center, having been denied bail twice, and has been placed on suicide watch as a precautionary measure. Number 1. Oh Yong-soo. Oh Yong-soo, recognized for his role as Player 001 in Squid Game, faced legal issues following accusations of sexual misconduct. In 2017, a woman claimed he had touched her inappropriately, and she filed a complaint in 2021. Initially, the police dropped the case due to insufficient evidence, but it was reopened in 2022. Oh Yong-soo denied the allegations, stating any contact was accidental and not intentional. In late 2022, he was charged with indecent assault under South Korean law, which involves non-consensual sexual acts that do not involve force. The charges led to an advertising campaign featuring him being halted by the South Korean Ministry of Culture, Sports and Tourism. Internationally, the allegations were surprising, given his portrayal in Squid Game and his historic Golden Globe win as the first Korean actor in the Best Supporting Actor category. In March 2024, Oh Yong-soo was sentenced to 8 months in prison, suspended for 2 years, and ordered to attend a 40-hour sexual violence treatment program. Hey there, top 20 celebrities banned from entire countries. Hey Iconic-inside fam, buckle up because we're about to dive into the shocking stories of celebrities who've been banned from entire countries. You won't believe what happened to these stars. From unexpected scandals to outrageous misunderstandings, these A-listers found themselves persona non grata in places you'd least expect. So grab your popcorn and get ready for a wild ride as we uncover the jaw-dropping tales behind these celebrity bans. Are you ready to be shocked? Let's get started. Justin Bieber. Justin Bieber's relationship with several countries has been marked by controversy, leading to bans that surprised fans around the world. His actions angered many nations, particularly Argentina, where he faced significant backlash. A notable incident happened during a concert in Buenos Aires when Bieber accidentally stepped on an Argentinian flag, which was seen as disrespectful by fans and officials. The situation worsened when he didn't show up in court for an alleged assault case involving his bodyguard and a photographer in 2013. Consequently, Argentina banned Bieber until the case was settled, causing his fans to protest with signs like "Argentina needs Justin." Bieber's issues were not limited to Argentina. He was criticized for not having the right documents for his pet monkey, making insensitive comments at historical sites, and even defacing a wall with graffiti in Brazil. These incidents portrayed him as a reckless celebrity, which led the Chinese government to ban him for bad behavior, deeming it inappropriate to allow such entertainers into their country. In response to the growing criticism, Bieber apologized on social media saying, "I'm sorry for not being able to bring my Purpose tour there." However, his public image suffered greatly as these controversies overshadowed his music and caused fans worldwide to distance themselves from him. The bans highlighted how a celebrity's actions can have significant consequences, impacting not only their career, but also their relationship with their fans. Madonna. Throughout her career, Madonna has been known for her boundary-pushing and challenging of societal norms. However, her provocative actions and use of religious imagery have often led to controversy and calls for bans in several countries. In 1989, the release of her Like a Prayer music video caused an uproar from the Vatican. The video included scenes of burning crosses, stigmata, and Madonna kissing a saint-like figure in a church setting. The Pope himself criticized the video as blasphemous and encouraged Catholics to boycott her concerts. Madonna responded by saying, "I am aware that the Vatican and certain communities are accusing my show of being sinful and blasphemous, that they are trying to keep people from seeing it." Her interest in Kabbalah also drew criticism from religious leaders. After visiting Israel and promoting the study of Jewish mysticism, she faced potential bans in Egypt. In the Philippines, she nearly faced a similar situation after dancing with the country's flag during her concerts, which is seen as disrespectful under local laws. Despite the backlash, Madonna remained unapologetic, stating, "Artists are here to disturb the peace." However, the controversy did impact her career, with Pepsi ending a lucrative endorsement deal due to the Like a Prayer situation. Madonna's readiness to challenge religious authorities and court controversy has been a defining aspect of her career. While some view her actions as blasphemous, others see her as a trailblazer who is not afraid to tackle taboo subjects. Regardless of opinions, her defiant spirit and refusal to compromise have made her a cultural icon, even if it has also made her a target for bans. Beyoncé. Beyoncé, a global superstar recognized for her strong vocals and bold performances, encountered a major obstacle in her career when she was prohibited from performing in Malaysia. The dispute started in 2007 when she was set to be the main act at a concert in Kuala Lumpur. However, Malaysian officials found her characteristic dance moves and revealing attire unsuitable for the largely Muslim country, demanding that female performers be covered from shoulders to knees without any cleavage visible. Despite her readiness to make adjustments, the Malaysian government's stringent dress code conflicted with Beyoncé's artistic vision. In response to the ban, she declared, "I will not compromise my artistic integrity," emphasizing her dedication to her performance style. This stance resulted in a permanent ban from Malaysia, as both her 2007 concert and a later attempt in 2009 were cancelled due to protests from local religious groups who argued that her performances encouraged Western sexy performances. The repercussions of this ban affected her career, leaving many fans in Malaysia heartbroken. They had to travel overseas to see her dynamic shows. While Beyoncé continued to achieve success on the international stage, being excluded from Malaysia served as a stark reminder of the cultural conflicts that can occur between global artists and local customs. This event not only impacted Beyoncé's public image, but also highlighted the difficulties artists face when dealing with diverse cultural environments, ultimately reinforcing her position on artistic freedom. Boy George. Boy George, the vibrant lead singer of Culture Club, experienced a challenging journey filled with controversy and legal issues, resulting in bans from several countries, including the United States. In 2009, he was sentenced to 15 months in prison for assaulting a male escort named Uden Carlson. The incident involved restraining Carlson to a wall and beating him with a metal chain, which left fans and critics in shock. Boy George later commented on this dark period, stating, "It was stupid, aggressive and regrettable, but I know that's all I did." His legal issues continued. In 2006, he was ordered to perform community service in New York City for falsely reporting a burglary at his residence. This event further damaged his reputation and added to his criminal record. Consequently, Boy George was denied entry into the United States in 2008, effectively banning him from the country until 2014, when the restriction was removed. The bans had a significant impact on his career. Once a celebrated pop icon for his distinctive style and music, he became associated with scandal. The bans not only reduced his touring opportunities, but also influenced public perception. Despite his difficult past, Boy George has sought redemption and expressed a desire to move forward, saying, "I must move on." In conclusion, while his legal problems created obstacles, they also formed a narrative of resilience as he dealt with the intricacies of fame and personal responsibility. Can people change and deserve a second chance, yes or no? Share your thoughts on whether Boy George's efforts to move forward and seek redemption are genuine. Akon. In 2009, Senegalese-American singer Akon teamed up with French DJ David Guetta on the hit song Sexy Bitch. The track's provocative lyrics and music video caused an uproar in the predominantly Buddhist nation of Sri Lanka, resulting in a surprising ban on Akon's entry into the country. The contentious music video, directed by Stephen Schuster, depicted barely dressed women dancing poolside with a statue of Buddha visible in the background. Thousands of Sri Lankan Buddhists protested, accusing Akon of defaming Buddhism and desecrating the image of Buddha. The protests escalated into violence, with demonstrators throwing stones at the offices of the concert's sponsor, causing injuries to several employees. Akon, who was only a featured artist on the song, issued an apology, saying, "I myself am a spiritual man, so I can understand why they are offended, but violence is never the answer, and I am disheartened." However, the Sri Lankan government remained steadfast, denying Akon a visa and banning him from entering the country for his scheduled concert. The ban was seen as severe by many, considering Akon's minimal involvement in the controversial video. Nevertheless, the incident underscored the influence of religious sensitivities in Sri Lanka and the potential repercussions for artists who are perceived to have insulted the country's Buddhist heritage. The ban undoubtedly affected Akon's career and public image, acting as a cautionary tale for musicians navigating the intricate landscape of international cultural norms and sensitivities. Lady Gaga. Lady Gaga, a pop star known for her bold style and unapologetic performances, has faced intense scrutiny and backlash in several Asian countries throughout her career. In 2011, the Chinese government took action against her music, deeming over 100 of her songs to be in poor taste and of vulgar content. This marked the beginning of a series of restrictions that would impact her performances in the region. In 2012, Lady Gaga's plans to perform in Jakarta, Indonesia, were put on hold when local authorities denied her concert permit. Citing concerns about security, the police claimed they couldn't guarantee the safety of the event. Islamic conservatives had raised concerns that her sexy clothes and dance moves will corrupt young people, prompting the police to act. Worried they could not guarantee security, local police recommended the permit for the show be denied, said spokesman Boy Rafli Amar. The singer faced a significant setback in 2016 when she met with the Dalai Lama, the exiled Tibetan spiritual leader. China views the Dalai Lama as a separatist threat, and in response to the meeting, the government issued a ban on Lady Gaga's music in mainland China. China considers the Dalai Lama to be a dangerous separatist, reported the ABC. When questioned about the meeting, a Chinese foreign ministry spokesperson seemed dismissive, asking who. The ban had a significant impact on Lady Gaga's career, preventing her from touring in China. Despite these challenges, Lady Gaga remained defiant. She has continued to express herself through her music, including in songs like Hair, where she sings "I scream, Mom and Dad, why can't I be who I want to be?" While her provocative persona has made her a target for criticism, Lady Gaga has refused to be silenced. Brad Pitt. In 1997, Brad Pitt's career took an unexpected turn when he starred in 7 Years in Tibet, a film that told the story of Austrian mountaineer Heinrich Harrer and his friendship with the Dalai Lama during the tumultuous period of Chinese occupation. The film's positive portrayal of the Dalai Lama and its negative depiction of Chinese military officers sparked outrage among Chinese authorities, who saw it as a challenge to their sovereignty over Tibet. The Chinese government swiftly condemned the film and banned Pitt, along with director Jean-Jacques Annaud and co-star David Thewlis, from entering the country. The ban was a significant blow to Pitt's career, keeping him out of China for nearly 2 decades. The experience had a profound impact on Pitt, who reflected, "For an audience it's 2 hours, but for me, it's a half year of living." The ban not only affected Pitt personally, but also had significant implications for Sony Pictures, jeopardizing their business prospects in one of the world's largest film markets. It wasn't until 2014 that Pitt was able to return to China, accompanying Angelina Jolie to promote Maleficent, followed by another trip in 2016 for Allied. This dramatic saga highlights the complex intersection of art and politics, leaving a lasting impact on both Pitt's career and China's cultural landscape. Miley Cyrus, Miley Cyrus, a former Disney star, faced bans in several countries due to her controversial behavior and public image. These bans reflect cultural sensitivities and varying moral standards. In 2014, the Dominican Republic banned Cyrus from performing during her Bangers tour. Authorities cited her provocative onstage behavior, ranging from revealing costumes to simulated sexual acts, as acts that go against morals and customs punishable by law. The commission stated, "Cyrus undertakes acts that offend personal safety and violate the rights of children and adolescents." This ban highlighted the conflict between her provocative artistry and the conservative values in the Dominican Republic. Similarly, Cyrus faced a ban from China after a photo surfaced where she and friends made offensive, squinty-eye gestures alongside an Asian man. This incident sparked outrage, leading to her exclusion from entering the country. In response, Cyrus expressed regret, stating, "I have learned a valuable lesson from this and know that sometimes my actions can be unintentionally hurtful." These incidents underscore the consequences of cultural missteps in an increasingly globalized world. While Cyrus sought to redefine her image beyond her Disney roots, the backlash from these countries revealed the complexities of navigating diverse cultural landscapes. The bans not only impacted her career, limiting performance opportunities, but also served as a stark reminder of the responsibilities that come with celebrity status in a global context. Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg, the renowned rapper famous for his open support of marijuana, has encountered bans in several countries, including the United Kingdom, Australia, and Norway. His controversial actions and legal issues have made him a focus for immigration officials. In 2006, Snoop and his group created a disturbance at Heathrow Airport when they were denied access to the first-class lounge. Upset, they damaged a duty-free shop, resulting in a ban from the UK. Snoop later commented on the incident, saying, "Sometimes you've got to let them know who you are," a statement that further solidified his rebellious image. Australia banned him in 2007 due to his questionable character, referencing his extensive criminal record related to drugs and weapons. Despite this obstacle, he eventually returned after demonstrating his value as a performer and philanthropist. Norway imposed a 2-year ban after Snoop was found with 8 grams of marijuana upon arrival in 2012. His lawyer stated that Snoop can live with the decision, showing a casual attitude towards these international restrictions. These bans have impacted not only Snoop's touring schedule but also his public image. While some fans appreciate his defiance and lifestyle, others disapprove of him setting a poor example. The rapper's ongoing relationship with cannabis continues to draw both admiration and criticism worldwide, highlighting the intricate relationship between celebrity culture and international law. Chris Brown. Following his infamous assault on Rihanna in 2009, Chris Brown encountered substantial backlash that resulted in bans from several countries, including Australia, the UK, and Canada. These nations demonstrated their stance against domestic violence by denying him entry as a response to his violent history. The incident that sparked this series of events happened during a dispute in a car, where Brown physically assaulted Rihanna, causing her visible injuries. He later referred to the moment as one that would haunt me forever, recognizing the severity of his actions. Despite his successful music career, which features numerous chart-topping albums, Brown's violent behavior has tarnished his public image and travel possibilities. Australia's Minister for Women, Michaelia Cash, highlighted the country's dedication to fighting domestic violence, saying, "If you are going to commit domestic violence, there are going to be countries that say to you, you cannot come in." In line with this stance, Brown was denied entry to Australia in 2015 while trying to tour there. These bans have impacted not only his capacity to perform internationally, but have also had a lasting effect on his reputation. In a recent Instagram post, Brown expressed frustration over being continuously judged for his past errors. "If y'all still hate me for a mistake I made as a 17-year-old, please kiss my whole entire ass." This ongoing scrutiny underscores the intricate relationship between celebrity culture and accountability in instances of domestic violence. On a scale of 0 to 5, how much do you think his assault on Rihanna has affected his music career and public image? Comment with a number. Claire Danes. In 1998, Claire Danes became entangled in a controversy that resulted in her being banned from the Philippines. While filming Brokedown Palace, she made derogatory comments about Manila, calling it a ghastly and weird city that smelled of cockroaches with rats all over and that there is no sewage system. These remarks were more than just casual observations. They deeply offended Filipinos, who felt insulted by her depiction of their capital. The backlash was immediate. President Joseph Estrada supported making Danes persona non grata, firmly stating, "She should not even be allowed to set foot here." The Manila City Council voted decisively, 23-3, to ban her from the city and prevent all her films from being shown in theaters across the country. Local councillor Kim Atienza rejected Danes' subsequent apology as insincere, asserting that the ban would continue until they were satisfied. This event had a lasting effect on Danes' public image and career. Although she continued to find success in television, her film career suffered from the ban, effectively eliminating any opportunity for her movies to reach Filipino audiences. The controversy serves as a stark reminder of how a celebrity's words can incite national outrage, leading to significant professional repercussions. As Danes later reflected, her comments were intended to describe specific experiences but ultimately mischaracterized her feelings towards the Filipino people. They were nothing but warm, friendly, and supportive. Martha Stewart. In June 2008, Martha Stewart encountered a surprising obstacle when she was prohibited from entering the United Kingdom. This unexpected denial was due to her 2004 felony conviction related to stock trading fraud, which included charges of conspiracy and obstruction of justice. Stewart had been scheduled to deliver a speech at the Royal Academy, but her plans fell apart as the UK Border Agency denied her visa application. citing her criminal record as the reason for the ban. The lifestyle guru's legal issues began with the clone stock scandal, where she sold shares based on insider information. Despite claiming innocence, she was convicted and sentenced to 5 months in prison, followed by home confinement. The repercussions of her actions spread through her career, damaging her once impeccable public image. In response to the ban, Stewart expressed her disappointment through her representatives. "Martha loves England. The country and English culture are near and dear to her heart," said Charles Koppelman, chairman of Martha Stewart Living Omnimedia. He highlighted her wish to resolve the issue and return to the UK for business engagements. The ban not only stopped Stewart from fulfilling professional commitments, but also underscored a broader issue of how past convictions can continue to affect even the most successful individuals. As she continued to prosper in other markets, including Poland, the UK ban served as a stark reminder of the shadows cast by her past, reshaping public perception and challenging her brand's integrity. Tyler, the Creator. In 2014, Tyler, the Creator, and his hip-hop group Odd Future were surprisingly banned from New Zealand, being labelled a threat to public order. This decision was based on a history of violent incidents at their performances, including a disorderly autograph signing in Boston in 2011, which led to injuries and arrests. New Zealand immigration officials used these events as proof that the group could provoke further disorder. The ban stopped Tyler from performing as an opening act for Eminem, leading to widespread criticism. Paul Rosenberg, Eminem's manager, expressed his disappointment over the decision on Twitter, saying, "Very unfortunate decision by NZ Immigration to withdraw Odd Future's travel visas." This situation highlighted the tension between artistic expression and public safety concerns. Tyler addressed the controversy in his song Smuckers, rapping, "I got banned from New Zealand. Whitey called me a demon and a terrorist. God damn it. I couldn't believe it." His lyrics showed both disbelief and defiance against the label given to him. The ban not only affected Tyler's immediate career but also influenced public perception of him and Odd Future as provocateurs. While some saw them as dangerous figures, others defended their right to perform and express themselves artistically. The aftermath of this incident emphasized the complexities of freedom of expression in music and its potential impact on artists' careers and public image. Ultimately, the ban served as a stark reminder of how art can elicit strong reactions from authorities and society as a whole. Selena Gomez. In 2013, Selena Gomez experienced a surprising and significant career challenge when she was barred from entering Russia. The Russian authorities denied her a visa because of her vocal advocacy for LGBTQ+ rights, which was in stark contrast to the country's recently introduced anti-LGBTQ+ laws. These laws were designed to prevent any promotion of homosexuality, making her activism unwelcome in a nation known for its strict views on LGBTQ+ issues. Gomez was scheduled to perform in St. Petersburg and Moscow as part of her Stars Dance tour. However, Russian officials were worried that her presence might spark public protests against their repressive legislation. US gay rights activist John Becker observed, "The cancellation of Selena Gomez's visa indicates that the Russian government is on edge and defensive." The ban not only led to the cancellation of these eagerly awaited concerts, but also underscored the wider consequences of celebrity activism in authoritarian regimes. In response to the ban, Selena expressed her disappointment yet remained resolute in her convictions. She has previously stated, "I will always stand by my LGBTQ friends and family." This event was a pivotal moment in her career, demonstrating the risks that celebrities take on when they advocate for social justice. While it attracted global media coverage and fan support, it also highlighted how censorship can suppress artistic expression, reinforcing Gomez's reputation as an advocate for equality despite the controversy. Martin Scorsese. In 1997, Martin Scorsese found himself at the center of a geopolitical controversy with the release of his film Kundun, a biographical drama about the life of the 14th Dalai Lama and the Chinese occupation of Tibet. Unbeknownst to Scorsese, his decision to tell this sensitive story would lead to a ban from China that would have far-reaching consequences for his career. The Chinese government strongly opposed the film, viewing it as an attempt to glorify the Dalai Lama and interfere with China's internal affairs. "We are resolutely opposed to the making of this movie. It is intended to glorify the Dalai Lama, so it is an interference in China's internal affairs," a Chinese Film Bureau official stated. As a result, Scorsese, screenwriter Melissa Matheson, and other key members of the Kundun team were banned from entering China. The fallout was immediate and severe. Disney, the film's distributor, faced significant backlash, with all of their business in China coming to a grinding halt overnight. Former Disney CEO Michael Eisner later apologized for the film, calling it a stupid mistake and vowing to avoid similar incidents in the future. The ban on Kundun and its creators remained in place for nearly 2 decades, until Scorsese was finally able to return to China in 2015 for the premiere of his short film The Audition in Macau. The incident highlighted the delicate balance between artistic freedom and political sensitivities, as well as the significant influence governments can have on the global film industry. Like this video? Great. Subscribe for more. Hate it? Well, a like would be nice anyway, and let me know what went wrong in the comments. Elton John. In 2010, Elton John found himself at the center of a controversy that led to his music being banned in Egypt. The Egyptian Musicians Union cancelled a scheduled concert by the artist, citing his openly gay lifestyle and advocacy for LGBTQ+ rights as the reason. The union's head, Munir al-Wazimi, justified the decision by referencing John's past comments, in which he had called for the legalization of homosexuality in Middle Eastern countries and made remarks about religion that were deemed inflammatory. How could we allow a gay man who wants to ban religions and who claimed that the prophet Isa Jesus was gay to perform in Egypt? Al-Wasimi stated. Homosexuality is a sensitive topic in Egypt, where the government and religious institutions often take a hardline stance against any perceived challenges to traditional values. John's openness about his sexuality and his advocacy for LGBTQ+ rights was seen as a direct challenge to these norms. In response to the ban, John refused to back down, stating, "I think religion has always tried to turn hatred towards gay people. Religion promotes the hatred and spite against gays. But there are so many people I know who are gay and love their religion." He also vowed to continue fighting for LGBTQ+ rights, regardless of the consequences. The ban had a significant impact on John's ability to perform in Egypt and the wider Middle East, but it also solidified his status as a champion of equality and a beloved figure within the LGBTQ+ community. His unwavering commitment to his values and his refusal to be silenced have made him a hero to millions around the world. Mike Tyson. In 2012, Mike Tyson faced a significant setback when New Zealand denied him entry into the country due to his 1992 rape conviction. Initially, Tyson had been granted a visa to participate in a motivational speaking tour that would benefit a children's charity, but the decision was quickly reversed after the sponsoring organization, Life Education Trust, withdrew its support. Associate Immigration Minister Kate Wilkinson explained, "Given that the trust is no longer supporting the event, I have made the decision to cancel his visa." Tyson's conviction stemmed from a 1992 assault on Desiree Washington, for which he received a 6-year prison sentence. Under New Zealand law, individuals sentenced to more than 5 years are automatically barred from entry unless a special waiver is granted. The backlash against Tyson's planned appearance was intense, with women's advocacy groups speaking out against his past actions. In response to the ban, Tyson expressed frustration, claiming that he felt unfairly targeted. "I didn't do that in crime," he exclaimed in an interview, emphasizing his belief that he had been wrongfully convicted. Despite his efforts to rehabilitate his image and contribute positively through charity work, the ban highlighted the lasting impact of his past behavior on his public image. This incident not only affected Tyson's career but also reinforced the stigma surrounding his criminal history, illustrating the enduring consequences of past actions in contemporary society. Katy Perry. In 2017, Katy Perry found herself barred from China due to a series of incidents that sparked controversy and raised concerns about her political views. Initially, she had been granted a visa to perform at the Victoria's Secret fashion show in Shanghai, but her access was suddenly revoked when Chinese officials discovered her past actions in Taiwan. The ban was rooted in a 2015 concert in Taipei, where Perry wore a sunflower dress and waved a Taiwanese flag, symbols associated with anti-China protests in Taiwan. This move was seen as a show of support for Taiwanese independence, a highly sensitive issue for Beijing. As a result, Chinese officials carefully scrutinized Perry's social media and press reports for any signs of offense, a common practice for artists seeking to perform in China. Perry's actions led to her exclusion from China, joining a list of Western artists like Lady Gaga and Justin Bieber, who faced similar bans for perceived insensitivity to Chinese politics. The backlash was swift, with Chinese fans expressing disappointment and the media labeling her persona non grata. In response to the ban, Perry apologized for any offense she may have caused, stating, "I'm sorry if I offended anyone. It was not my intention." However, the fallout had a significant impact on her career in Asia, resulting in lost performance opportunities, revenue, and fan support in one of the world's largest markets. The incident highlights the delicate balance artists must strike between personal expression and geopolitical sensitivities. Lily Allen. In 2008, Lily Allen encountered a major obstacle in her career when she was essentially prohibited from entering the United States. This prohibition was a result of a contentious event in March of that year, where she was apprehended for allegedly attacking a photographer in London. The aftermath was immediate and harsh. Upon her arrival at Los Angeles International Airport to participate in the MTV Video Music Awards launch, her work visa was rescinded following a 5-hour interrogation by US officials. The situation underscored the extent to which previous legal issues can drastically affect international travel for famous individuals. Allen's representative verified the circumstances, saying, "Lily was interrogated and her work visa was rescinded. Naturally, she was distressed by it." The singer herself articulated her resolve to resolve the issue, stating, "I'm doing everything I can to fix this. I want my fans to know that I will do everything I can to return to America." Despite her endeavors, the ban had a lasting impact on her public image and career path. The inability to perform in the US not only restricted her exposure to American fans, but also hampered her promotional opportunities for forthcoming albums and tours. This episode served as a stark warning of how rapidly fame can morph into scandal, leaving celebrities like Allen dealing with the repercussions of their actions on an international platform. Ultimately, it emphasized the fragile equilibrium between celebrity conduct and public opinion in an increasingly critical world. The Beatles. During the peak of Beatlemania in the summer of 1966, the Beatles became entangled in a controversy that almost led to a permanent prohibition from the Philippines. The situation started when the band, worn out from their demanding tour schedule, turned down an invitation to a breakfast event hosted by First Lady Imelda Marcos. "We got there with thousands of kids and hundreds of policemen. It was a bit risky. Everyone had guns," Ringo Starr remembered in Anthology. The promoters promised to the Marcos administration, unknown to the band, had laid the groundwork for a PR catastrophe. The Filipino press exploited this opportunity, depicting the Beatles' absence as an intentional insult to the First family. "I'm a huge Beatles fan, and when I heard they were being mistreated, I rushed to the airport to stop it," Imelda Marcos later stated. However, by then, the harm had been done, as the band encountered an aggressive crowd at the airport the next day. Being a big fan of the Beatles, I arranged with the Philippine promoter to invite them to lunch at Malacanang Palace so that I could personally welcome them to our country, along with my family and friends, who are also big fans. Honestly, I was disappointed by their non-appearance, but later understood that there was a miscommunication and held no resentments, Marcos added. The incident, which originated from a misunderstanding and the band's policy against attending official events, nearly cost them greatly. Consequently, the Beatles were effectively banned from the Philippines, and none of their former members have returned since. Hey iconicinside fam, we've just wrapped up our deep dive into the lives of celebrities who've faced bans in various countries. It's a wild ride, isn't it? But hey, there's always a lesson to be learned. Remember, fame comes with responsibility. Every action has consequences, and sometimes they can be global. So, what do you think? Have these stories changed your perspective on celebrity life? Let's chat about it in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and turn on those notifications so you never miss out on the iconic stories we bring you. Let's keep the conversation going.